This is just a rant for people who are on my page for 90 Day Fiancé information or immigration updates or whatever. So I made a 90 Day Fiancé Friday thing about Miona in response to people saying that she shouldn't be able to stay in the US and have a green card if her and Jabri are no longer together. And of course, I'm in defense of her being able to keep her green card. But something interesting happened where she did a question and answer session and somebody specifically asked her about applying for a green card. And she said that Jabri did not help her get a green card, that she applied on her own. Now, I know as an immigration attorney that you can't apply for a green card on your own. You have to have a pathway that qualifies you for residency. And that's either going to be having a family member who applies for you, such as a spouse, fiance, parent, child, having an employer who applies for you, or having a victim basis, which is going to be applying for asylum, VAWA, U visa, T visa, S visa. So in order to clarify exactly what happened, I messaged her and asked, hey, just for clarity, what do you mean when you say you applied on your own? And she said, oh, I just went to the office and applied for your own. There's lots of different kinds of visas. You should check and see what you're eligible for. And I said, oh, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I am an immigration attorney, and I'm curious, what do you mean when you say you applied on your own? Because on the 485, it specifically asked you to denote what is your pathway. Do you belong to a special program for Cubans? Are you applying because you have an approved I-130, which is a family petition? Are you applying because you had an approved I-2, I-192F, which is the fiance visa application? So what pathway are you talking about? And she insisted on saying she applied on her own. And then she said, well, it's private. I want to keep it private. And that is absolutely her business. If she wants to keep it private, it can stay private. But the reason I talk about the 90 Day Fiancé franchise is because I want to explain immigration policies, not only to immigrants, but also American citizens who are often very confused about what immigration means and what kind of procedures have to be followed. And to give the impression that you can just apply for residency without having a qualifying event that happened first, I think is giving the wrong impression about how U.S. immigration works. It's not like in Spain, where if you're just there for 5 years, regardless of how you arrive there, then you can go and apply for residency. We don't have that kind of policy in the United States. You have to have a qualifying event that makes you eligible to apply for residency. And that's the reason I was asking, just to make sure that we have the right information out there about how immigration works. I will qualify that and say, unless you're Cuban. If you're Cuban and you arrive in the United States on parole, then being Cuban is enough for you to be able to apply for residency. There's a special policy for Cubans. We used to also have that special program for Liberians. But for everyone else, you have to either have one of three categories of things happen. Either a family member has petitioned for you and that application is now approved. That's a spouse, a child over 21, a parent, a sibling. Or you have an employer who has petitioned for you and you have an approved I-140, or you've self-approved under the employment procedures, or you have a victim-based policy, which again is going to be asylum, VAWA, S visa, T visa, U visa, those kind of things. There is no ability, apart from those exceptions I listed earlier, that you just apply for residency on your own without a qualifying event.